There comes a point in a man's life when he stops running. Not because he's tired, not because he's given up, but because he finally understands something that took decades to learn. For years, many men chased acceptance. They chased friendships that were entirely one-sided. They chased relationships that drained them to the bone. They chased approval that never lasted. They chased opportunities that demanded they constantly, relentlessly prove their worth. Then, after 60, everything changed. They realized that the people who truly value you do not require you to chase them. In developmental psychology, the first half of a man's life is defined by pursuit. It is a biological and social imperative to acquire, to conquer, and to seek out validation from the tribe. But as a man matures, this paradigm completely inverts. The pursuit of the external is replaced by the fierce protection of the internal. Today we will explore the psychology of the sovereign man. We will dissect exactly why wise older men completely stop chasing anyone after 60, and how that definitive decision often becomes the genesis of a vastly more peaceful, meaningful life. Let us uncover the truth. Section 1. They stop chasing people who don't value their presence. One of the hardest, most agonizing lessons in life is realizing that not everyone values your time the way you do. Many men spend years, sometimes decades, sending the first message, making the first phone call, planning every visit, keeping every friendship and relationship alive entirely by themselves. At first, they tell themselves that relationships simply require effort, and they do. But healthy, psychologically stable relationships require effort from both people. Eventually, older men begin noticing a painful pattern. If they stop reaching out, some people completely disappear, not because of one misunderstanding, but because the relationship was never balanced in the first place. The connection was sustained entirely on the fuel of the man's unilateral effort. That realization can be incredibly painful. Yet, paradoxically, it is also incredibly freeing. Instead of chasing people who show little to no interest, they invest their highly precious energy in those who naturally make time for them, because they finally understand this psychological truth. Mutual effort builds lasting relationships. Constant pursuit only builds exhaustion. A man over 60 simply refuses to audition for a role in someone else's life. And once they stop chasing people, they begin questioning something even bigger. Section 2. They completely stop chasing approval. For decades, many men quietly seek approval without even realizing it. Approval from coworkers, approval from neighbors, approval from family, even approval from complete strangers. They explain every minor decision. They work vastly harder than necessary just to be noticed. They say yes when their soul is screaming no, all in the desperate hope of being respected and validated by the tribe. But approval is dangerously temporary. No matter how much you accomplish, someone will still disagree with you. Someone will still criticize your choices. Someone will still deliberately misunderstand your intentions. Trying to control how everyone perceives you is a psychological battle that can never be won. Older men finally discover that peace begins the exact moment you stop living for applause. When you release the need to be universally liked, a massive suffocating weight lifts off your chest. The older man realizes that the only approval that truly matters is being able to look in the mirror at the end of the day and deeply respect the man looking back. And once external approval loses its venomous power, another kind of chasing comes to a quiet end. Section 3. They stop chasing the past. Many people spend their golden years wishing they could rewind the clock and relive their younger days. They fall into the psychological trap of toxic nostalgia. They constantly compare their current reality to who they used to be, their old career, their fading physical strength, their missed opportunities. But older men who actually find peace choose a radically different path. They honor their memories, but they absolutely refuse to live inside them. Living in the rearview mirror is a guarantee of misery. You cannot drive a car safely if you never look at the road ahead. Instead of asking the painful, paralyzing question, "Why didn't I do that?" they pivot their psychology and ask, "What can I still do today?" That simple cognitive shift transforms heavy regret into immediate purpose. After 60, life isn't about recreating the past. It is about making the years ahead intensely meaningful. The sovereign man understands that today is the youngest he will ever be, and he refuses to waste it mourning yesterday. When a man stops chasing the past, he finally has the emotional freedom to build a better present. And that leads to another life-changing realization. Section 4. They stop chasing happiness through other people. For many years, society tells men a very dangerous lie. It tells them that happiness is waiting somewhere outside themselves, in the perfect romantic relationship, in the perfect circle of influential friends, in the perfect family dynamic, in the perfect idealized retirement. But after decades of experience, many older men discover something surprising. Real happiness doesn't magically arrive because another person enters your life. It grows organically from the life you have already built. A meaningful, quiet morning routine, good physical health, purposeful work or hobbies, even after retirement, time with people who genuinely, effortlessly care, quiet evenings entirely without unnecessary stress. Ironically, when a man stops chasing happiness through other people, he often becomes vastly happier in every relationship he already has, because he approaches people with a deep sense of gratitude, rather than a heavy, suffocating dependency. He does not need anyone to complete him. He is already complete. And once happiness is sourced strictly from within, money also begins to look very, very different. Section 5. They stop chasing more money at the cost of their actual life. When they were younger, many men believed that success was strictly defined by earning more, working longer hours, accepting crushing levels of corporate pressure, postponing vacations, missing family dinners, always operating under the deferred life plan, telling themselves, "I'll enjoy life later." But after 60, many realize they have already paid a brutally high price. They understand that financial security is undeniably important, but the endless, insatiable chasing of capital often steals the very life they hoped the money would improve. Instead of constantly asking, "How can I make more?" they pivot and begin asking, "How can I enjoy what I've already built?" They value quiet experiences over flashy possessions. They value their cardiovascular health over overtime hours. They value their time over their societal status, because they know one undeniable truth that only age can fully teach. Money can dramatically improve your comfort, but all the money in the world cannot buy you another healthy year. That profound change in values naturally affects the way they see success itself. Section 6. They completely stop chasing status. There was a time when titles mattered, job titles, expensive luxury cars, large cavernous houses, public recognition. Many men spent years of their lives believing these external markers define their success as a human being. But retirement changes perspective instantly. No one remembers how many corporate meetings you attended. Very few people care about your old business card. What people actually remember is how you treated them, your unshakable honesty, your quiet wisdom, your genuine generosity, your character. High-value older men no longer chase impressive appearances. They focus their energy on becoming impressive human beings, because status eventually fades into obscurity, but character grows stronger and more magnetic with time. That realization removes an enormous amount of pressure. For the first time in years, they feel completely free to simply be themselves, without the exhausting need to prove their rank in the hierarchy. And finally, there is one thing they stop chasing that changes absolutely everything else. Section 7. They stop chasing people who have already walked away. Perhaps the most painful, yet necessary lesson of all, is learning exactly when to let go. Some friendships naturally end. Some family relationships become irreconcilably distant. Some romantic relationships simply do not survive the test of time. When they were younger, many men exhausted themselves trying to fix everything, trying to convince people to stay, trying to earn back affection that was already gone, trying to explain, trying to prove their worth. But wisdom teaches a vastly different lesson. You cannot force loyalty. You cannot negotiate genuine respect. And you cannot build a healthy relationship entirely by yourself. Older men eventually realize that every single minute spent chasing someone who has already chosen to leave is a minute taken away from the people who truly, deeply want to be part of their lives. So they let go. Not with bitterness, not with simmering resentment, but with absolute acceptance. Because they understand that letting go isn't losing. Sometimes, it is simply making room for peace. To the younger men watching this, do not wait until you are 60 to stop running. You can step off the treadmill, cut the strings of approval, and embrace your peace today. And to the older men watching this, the ones who have stopped chasing the ghosts of the past, and who have finally anchored themselves in the present, you are not broken. You have simply mastered the art of living. If this video resonated with your soul, I want to hear your truth. Head down to the comments and tell me, what was the exact moment you realized that chasing people in approval was no longer worth your energy? Your scars and your wisdom will help guide the men who are still fighting blindly through the storm. If you found value in this deep dive into male psychology, please hit the like button, subscribe to the Sage Academy channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a lesson. Thank you for watching. Until next time, guard your sanctuary and embrace your peace.